Harley Lippman's a foreign policy and geopolitical expert. Harley, this naval blockade, I don't want to sound like this war is over, but it does look like this would put the finishing touches on it.
No, absolutely. And when you think about Trump's strategy, where all his critics said he didn't have one, they were all wrong. There is a strategy. And here's how it works in warfare. You have an enemy. You first try to change their intentions. You have peace talks, which is what he did. He saw they weren't sincere about it. Then you take away their capability. So a lot of people said, well, how come he didn't block the Straits of Hormuz before instead of going to war? No, you don't want to leave them with an Air Force and with a Navy and all these weapons to threaten their neighbors. So you take it out. Step 2, which he did brilliantly. Step 3, you choke them economically in the Strait of Hormuz, which is where China gets 40 to 50% of its oil. So that's a real choke point. Now, when you add to that, where else is China getting oil? The Straits of Malacca, controlled by Indonesia. The United States just upgraded our defense agreement with Indonesia. Is that a coincidence? Not likely. It's part of a strategy. That's the third kibosh to China, where now when he goes to meet with them, he's got leverage. They want oil, Trump could turn it off. So they have to behave with Taiwan or trade or other things. So this is where, even if there may be a step back here and there, because wars are not perfect and there are some setbacks, directionally, he's on the cusp of a great victory.
And we don't want to say it's over. We have no idea what's going to happen. Like you said, it's very unpredictable, but it does look like he's about to stick the landing. The American energy dominance factor. We're setting records for oil exports. That's also part of the strategy, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I'll add another component. Our Gulf allies, they sell oil to China, and China supplies weapons to Iran. So we have to work with our Gulf allies and tell them, and work as a partnership, and tell China, if you're going to sell weapons to Iran, we're not going to sell you oil. Another part of the strategy. You put that all together, that's going to prevent a war, because China has told their military leaders, be prepared for war in 2027. That's a year away. It's going to be very hard for China to go to war over Taiwan if Trump has leverage over oil with them, which he does. So Trump is creating a world where it's going to be very unlikely there'll be a war, and he's creating peace in the world. And his critics don't give him credit for that. They can't get over their hatred of Trump. And I would hope to see, when I look at the press and it's filled with so much criticism, I hope they apologize to President Trump, because they've been very unfair.
I was watching CNN in between the 5 and the 8, because we're in there, we're writing shows. We have all the channels on, and you look at their banners, and their banners are Iranian propaganda. Oh. It's Iran says we're going to close the Red Sea. Iran says they got a bunch of oil out through the blockade. I'm like, you're just gonna listen to what the gay Ayatollah says and put it on CNN? That's crazy.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. They just have a defeatist attitude and just don't want to see that he could really have a great strategy. I think that's part of his style. He's unpredictable and wants it to be that way, kept it close to the vest, because you can't do all these things by happenstance. Obviously these things are well thought out, and that's the biggest criticism he got. People said, yes, he had tactical victories fighting Iran and taking out their Navy and Air Force, but he didn't have a strategy. He doesn't have an exit ramp. They're wrong. He does.
So everyone's like, oh, well, I'm not going to say Jessica says that, but some people say, oh, now the new leadership in Iran is even more hardline, and, this decapitation strike kind of backfired. And I mean, is that true? And what are they going to do anyway without any money?
Exactly. Doesn't matter who the leadership is. They're on the verge of collapse. We don't see that. They don't allow the media in to explore, but they have huge unemployment. By the way, when all the people went out into the streets for economic reasons and the protests, there was 40% inflation. Now it's 180%. Millions of people are unemployed, and their currency is down by 98% from 2019. They're on the verge of collapse. So whoever is in charge in Iran knows that in a very short time, within a matter of days or weeks, their country is going to be broken.
Do you think you're going to have a revolution?
Well, you have the best chances for it now, and I think it's likely. And I also hope that President Trump gets Starlink into Iran, because the people can communicate. Iran shut down their internet, which costs them $50 million a day. It's been down for 49 days. Their economy is also being hurt by it. But if you could get Starlink in there and the people could communicate, the overwhelming likelihood is they will rise up.
Oh, well, I think he has Elon Musk's cell. That should be an easy call.
I would think so.
Thank you so much for your expertise. Good to see you in the studio.
Good to see you, too.
Good to have you. Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube, and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.